What's up, brewskis? My name is Marco Dupa. With me, as always, the great and powerful Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah, buddy.
Tonight's brew is from one of our favorite breweries in the city. I'm just gonna,
Until they recognize us, We've had so many of your beers.
It's Sideward Brewing. It's the extra juicy boots. And Obi's going to have a little bit more about that after the break. Sorry,
I will.
Let me show the people. You can't see it the way I framed it this time.
Ooh.
That's nice.
What's
on tap for tonight? Well, we got ourselves another heaping pile of trailer trash. We will discuss, finally, the trailer for The Smishing Machine.
The Smishing Machine.
A24's autobiography. Or biography, not really an autobiography. I don't think Mark Kerr is involved.
I think he's involved. I just don't think he's written it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, taking a lot of his time and attention away from the WWE. Then we have the trailer for Weapons, which we've discussed briefly with their creepy little teasers. They finally have a full trailer out, so we can dive into that a bit more.
And speaking of Weapons, we're going to talk a little bit more about this purported bidding war that took place that effectively made Jordan Peele fire his representation because they lost the bidding war for this movie for Monkey Paw, his production.
That's serious,
company.
yeah.
So,
and finally, we have... Finally! We'll talk a little bit about a recent re-release of Revenge of the Sith.
It did so well.
I got the box office numbers ready.
Okay,
so
cool.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But before we can talk about any of that, we have to get into this show proper like. And the only way to do that is to crack open these beers. This is episode 461 of the One Beer In podcast. Devil. Yes. Pretty world-renowned Belgian beer. They apparently have been to see who can pour the beer the best. It's the Duvel Pour competition, and the regional winner gets flown out to Vegas to compete with all the other to have a pour off.
Wow.
Yeah. So
serious.
Yeah, I'm gonna enter.
You should.
Yeah.
Do you just videotape yourself doing it?
Literally.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I have to look into it. I know that there's all these different parameters and stuff.
Sure.
I don't know what you have to do specifically as far as filming it, because I know you have to imagine there has to be pretty strict.
Yeah.
Because anybody could just edit it.
Make it with AI.
Yeah. So there has to be some kind of. I mean. You would get really embarrassed when you had to actually show up and do it. But shit, getting flown out to Vegas on someone else's dime.
Free trip?
Then
to pour a beer?
Right. Even if you fuck it up, you're still in Vegas.
Yeah.
Still got flown out.
Right.
But yeah, so I think that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Probably keep everybody updated on that. I was just thinking about it because obviously pouring these.
Of course.
All right. This is the One Beer In podcast, the podcast where two brews crack open a brew. And we see where that one brew takes us. I'm Marco. That's Adam.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's clink it and drink it.
Oh. Juicy.
All right. You want to tell the people a little bit more about what we're drinking tonight?
I would love to. This is the Sideward Brewing Extra Juicy Boots. Double dry hopped India Pale Ale. Unfortunately, as is always the case with Sideward, we don't have a cold read, but on their website, the read is as follows: a juicier, hazy version of our flagship IPA, Moon Boots. 7% ABV.
There you go.
Simple enough.
Mm-hmm. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Extra juicy boots. Yeah. Extra juicy. Okay. Sorry. I got a little. I don't know what happened
Got a little,
just now.
little lost in the sauce.
Sorry about that. Let's do this. Let's get right in to a segment we affectionately know as Trailer
Trash.
All right, let's start it off with The Smashing Machine, A24 biopic, as some dum-dums like to say, about Mark Kerr, the UFC champion.
Yes. Releasing October 3rd of this year.
So the pictures came out a little while ago of Rock in like full prosthetics, and he looked incredible. I mean, The Rock has, whatever he's doing to achieve said physique, he's 99% probability is he's juiced to the gills.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that you have to put in the work to get to a physique like
Absolutely.
that. And he's gotten older and has only gotten rockier.
Right.
So he's massive in this.
I mean, that is all the proof I need to see that he is allegedly juicing.
Yeah.
But
as on the gear.
Oh, absolutely. People don't get bigger as they get older, if you don't know.
But you know what, though? Maybe it's worth it.
It's fine.
Because he looks incredible.
Look.
He looks incredible.
I'm sorry. I thought this was America. Right. Like, he can do whatever he wants to get his physique.
Don't put any tariffs on that poison, baby.
Absolutely not. No. You got to make that in America.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, he looks huge.
And also, not for nothing, but like, I'm sure that A24 and whoever, like all the people involved in making the movie,
Benny
Oh
Safdie.
Yeah, it's a Safdie movie, of course. Yeah. So I'm sure Safdie probably saw The Rock and was like, "Huh, he's got the physique for this."
Yeah.
But I'm shocked as to, I don't know what the level of prosthetics has gone into his face, but he really looks like Mark Kerr.
He does.
He looks like him a lot.
Well, I think the biggest, it sounds funny to say it out loud, but I think the biggest thing is the hair.
Yeah.
You're not used to seeing The Rock with hair nowadays, at least.
Yeah.
So I think that.
Dude, it's even weird to go back and watch classic clips of him.
Yeah.
And see when he had hair. It was like, huh.
What's going on there?
This doesn't look right.
Yeah.
He and a bunch of other guys who had shorter hair, I noticed this. I don't know, it's a weird thing because when you watch enough, you just notice these weird things.
Yeah.
They like to do this like taper down the neck as opposed to, like going clean across.
Yeah. They don't square it off.
No,
it
like
fades
down.
all the way down into that taper.
So weird. And it goes like a really long.
Yeah.
I know this is going to fuck some people up, but next time you're like rewatching, or maybe you just scrolling on Instagram and like a classic clip pops up, look at Kurt Angle before he shaved his head, or The Rock, or anybody who had a fade of some sort.
Yeah.
Look at how weird. They all must have been going to the same barber. There must have been a WWE.
They got one guy.
Barber. They had one dude.
Yeah.
And they would all just line up.
The usual?
And just get in the chair. Yeah. The mutton chops all the way down to here.
Yep.
So yeah, seeing him with hair, that does a huge thing.
I mean, just looking at the pictures, probably the brow, the nose.
Yeah, I mean,
that's probably it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a shit ton of prosthetics,
No.
really. It appears to be like a pretty simple kind of Looper-esque level of prosthetics.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think of that, but yeah,
where it's just enough that you're like, well, he doesn't look like The Rock,
which I mean is a feat in itself because The Rock is clearly an iconic superstar.
Yeah.
So for him to disappear into the role, I think, is a harder challenge than you would think off face value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So number one, he looks great. Number two, judging by this trailer, I think he's it has accomplished the goal so far.
Yeah.
That it looks like it's going to be pretty good. He looks good in it. He sounds good in it. It seems like he's hitting a level of dramatic acting that he's never done in his entire career. This is exactly what it appears to be.
Yeah.
Which is The Rock decided that he wanted to show up for work finally, and you can see that there is a well of talent there when he's not being coddled and not being like the giant hero of a $200 million CGI spectacle.
Right.
That there is talent there, and I think we've talked about it before. Like, he is a good actor. If in the small sample size that we have of him actually acting,
if he can be a character, he's great.
Yeah,
he has the potential clearly, and not for nothing, but I trust Benny Safdie to be able to find talent. Him and his brother haven't ever struck out with even finding people you wouldn't expect to be for these certain roles.
Right.
So,
well, I would highly doubt that he would cast him on physique alone.
Right. And
that's really gonna sink the ship of
absolutely.
This movie if he doesn't pull it off.
And I think it's something that I didn't think about before I saw the trailer, but what they're doing, it seems like, is leveraging on his innate charisma still.
Yeah.
There's still obviously charisma in that character, in that portrayal, but it's anchored now. It's not just, it's not just The Rock being The Rock, but he's still using his God-given ability of that charisma to act within this role. And I think that is super smart, and that gets me even more excited and more confident that this is going to turn out to be a really good performance. And people, I'm not the only one to see this, obviously. There's people already saying, like, oh, this might be an Oscar run. We'll see.
Well, and even when the images came out, before anybody even saw the trailer, everyone was like, well, we saw what they do when studios like A24 or people like Benny Safdie, like with the Iron Claw, for instance, when they tackled these really heavy subjects that have to do with martial arts.
Yeah.
Same as like with The Wrestler. And anytime there's something like that, what's the Tom Hardy movie? The Warrior.
Oh yeah,
or The Fighter,
right?
It's easy Oscar bait. Somebody's gonna get either nominated or looked at really, really keenly,
or maybe they won't watch the movie at all because that's what apparently the Oscars
do. And as I was saying this, that's exactly what I thought about too. And I'm like, I can't believe that isn't one of our topics. I mean,
well, because we talked about it before.
But now, did you see the thing where the person? You know where I'm going with this.
I know exactly where you're going with it.
Okay, so. Yeah, we did talk about this, and now it's becoming like more of a mainstream thing that people are addressing, really, where it's like, hey, man.
It made enough people angry
that they
decide to enact some changes.
And so now they have to prove that they've watched these movies, and they're already like, the people who watch these movies, the people in the Academy, they're like, all you have to do is turn the thing on and just walk away from and it's like, what are you talking about? Why would you do that? This isn't a homework assignment.
It's infuriating.
This isn't.
Watch the movie.
You're not in like a community college where you're at home and they're like, we want you to log in and answer a couple questions. Dude, this is your life. It's not just your job.
It's your industry.
This is your life.
Everything.
Why are you even in? That is what is so infuriating about this entire thing. Is like, I don't care, and I'll
take your place gladly. Please.
I know some people are going to be like, well, they've been doing it for so long, they're probably then retire.
Then quit. Yeah,
you're done.
Find another industry. Please.
But no, because they're going to sit there with that cushy position, get all these screeners, be a big dick in these rooms. People are going, oh, that's so and so. He's a voter at the. They like that shit, but doing the actual thing, and this is why when people make AI art and everybody else jumps in and they're like, this is not okay, and then you see like people like Natasha Lyonne. Being in an AI movie, and it's like, none of you actually give a fuck.
Right.
The rest of us have to sit here and argue on Twitter about this kind of stuff while you guys up here it's just fucking hypocrites, man. And it's like,
they're like politicians. It's like, we don't have any power here. You're guys,
you're
the ones
man.
making it.
Don't come to us.
Yeah.
Don't come to us and be like, power to the people. No. This is your problem.
Right.
You need to fix this. It's fucking
we are mere patrons. We can only do so much.
So, yeah. Sorry. So the pictures, and everyone was already saying like this was Oscar bait, right? It's a movie about martial arts.
Sure.
It's a movie about a guy who struggled.
It's a biopic.
heavily. It's a biopic. So it all had the hallmarks of being a successful, critically acclaimed movie. And now you get the trailer, and you're like, you know what? Might actually...
The elements are all there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say not trash. It looks pretty
not
good.
trash. It got me more excited for the movie.
It really did. It really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you can ask for in these trailers. Speaking of, next trailer we have is Weapons. The next Zach Kreger film we talked about not that long ago. Coming out August 8th.
Honestly, I think it was last week.
Yeah. Last week or the week before, I forget.
Yeah.
But before this, we only had, these tiny snippets of kids running in black and white security footage.
Yeah.
All very creepy. But now we finally have a full trailer that kind of gives you more of a sense of the tone, more of a sense of what the movie's really about. I think before the trailer came out, it was still a big mystery what's at the core of this movie.
Yeah. What is the conflict other than the kids disappearing? Okay. And so then what's the movie?
Right.
What's the story?
And also hinting at what this movie is trying to say.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought of, and it seems like a lot of people thought of, was this is an allegory about school shootings.
Yeah.
Because, and this is an element I didn't realize until I saw the trailer, that all the kids went missing from the same class.
Yeah. Well, they don't tell you that in the teasers or in the synopsis.
Right.
Synopses that came out before.
Yeah.
Synopsis. Plural.
Synopses. Yes. But yeah, so that was a reveal in the trailer, which makes it even more interesting to me, because then, fingers are pointed at the teacher. What's her involvement, or is she a victim in this whole thing?
Yeah. Well, we finally get Josh Brolin's role.
Yes.
Which I thought he was going to be like a cop or something.
Yeah.
Didn't think he was going to be like a concerned dad.
Right. Which I love that they're kind of flipping him as an actor on his head as far as that.
Because he'd play the town sheriff so perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
That he needed to be something else in this movie.
Yeah. So I think they revealed just enough, and again I'm still so happy that Zach Kreger and co have not done what a lot of movie trailers do nowadays still, and that's reveal way too much.
Yeah, I still don't really know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
I know what I know,
and that's all you know.
And that's all I know.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious if there's going to be like a level of supernatural to this, or if there's going to be some kind of like in Barbarian when. Oh, you haven't
seen it? She hasn't seen it yet. She wants to see it. So.
Okay. I won't say anything. There's a twist, obviously.
Sure.
That's common knowledge.
Yes,
but
there's a reveal of sorts.
There's an aspect to. How do I say this? I'll just back out.
Okay.
There seemed to be a supernatural element, and it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I guess is the best way to, and that's not really a spoiler.
Okay.
Because you find that out pretty quickly. So that's not a spoiler. All right, and I'll leave it alone. I'm not going to say anything else.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he does a really good job of, as far as Barbarian is concerned, like taking your expectations, flipping them on their head.
Yeah.
And then and still executing.
Yeah.
Because that's the harder part. Like once you do the thing, then you go, all right. And
then what?
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's not enough to just have a twist. It needs to go somewhere or mean something, or
especially when it's not like a shocking end to the movie.
Sure.
I'm not going to reveal anything else. I feel like if I say anything more, it's going to be it's going to go into well, I haven't spoiled anything.
Yeah.
All the stuff that I've said is common knowledge, I think. You don't know anything? Good. I won't say anything else. You're still going to go into it pretty blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't said anything that you won't find out in the first 5 minutes.
No, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so I think he's really good at that. So this is exciting. And now getting, like, more images of, like, how it's actually going to look and everything. And, how it's going to kind of play out. Yeah, very exciting.
Lots of creepy imagery.
Yeah.
The kids in the classroom with their heads down, not moving. is very creepy. I mean, it's the classic creepy kids trope in horror that is still very effective.
Yeah. When people are possessed and hurt themselves.
Yeah.
That's always really, really creepy.
There's some of that in the trailer.
Yeah.
Very Hereditary-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this one looks darker than even I was going to say Hereditary, even the other one, Barbarian. Thank you. I immediately thought Longlegs. No, not Longlegs.
Well, I was thinking Longlegs too when he bashes his head on the thing.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, no, this looks tonally darker than Barbarian. So yeah, I mean, so far so good. Yeah. I'm excited. Not trash.
Not trash.
And to add to that, apparently Jordan Peele was trying to get rights to this movie and lost, and then immediately fired. I think it was the agent.
Yeah.
Responsible for acquiring these things.
Basically like his representation, which I would love to be in that room where, like, how this guy even failed to. If Jordan Peele tells you this movie's incredible, I want to produce it.
Yeah.
I then you got to think like, all right, man. Well, what's the number? That would be my first question. Like, okay, what's the number? Tell me how high I can go.
Yeah.
I won't lose this bidding war.
Sure.
If it gets to the number that you're comfortable with, I'll go maybe a couple mil above that, and then if we lose, we lose. But like, so I'm curious as to, did this person or this team of people just not take him serious, and that's why he fired them? Because that's what I'm thinking. Is they went into that room and they were like, well, I mean, it's us versus New Line, like. They'll take it, and if they eat shit, then it's New Line. But if we eat shit, we're gonna lose a lot of money on this.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to play it safe. And then they go back to Jordan, and they're like, "Yeah, New Line got it. They outbid us." And he's like, "How'd they outbid you? I opened my wallet.
I said I wanted this movie." Yeah.
So yeah, I could see, but I'm failing to understand how that, because it wasn't even like, in the grand scheme of things, it was only 38 mil.
Yeah.
And I know I said only, but like, we're talking
for
about
movies.
We're talking about Hollywood
movies,
machines.
Yeah.
We're not talking about you and I trying to.
Right.
So 38 mil to me seems like nothing.
Yeah.
Especially if the expectation is, if Jordan is so confident in this movie, I mean, man, think about this too. Mm-hmm. Not only did he lose this bidding war, but now this news coming out, all it's done is given it even more press.
Absolutely.
So he is effectively working for this movie and getting nothing back for it.
Which, I obviously feel like has to sting.
Oh.
But at the same time, I feel like Jordan Peele is such a, not only a master of the genre, but also a proponent of it, that I don't think he has to be, he can't be that mad about it. I think a rising tide raises all ships when it comes to horror. So I don't know. If I were him, I'd be like, yeah, that sucks, but I have my own thing cooking already. I've produced another movie that's coming out that's getting good buzz. Monkey Paw's doing just fine.
Yeah.
So it has to sting a little bit, but it's fine. I think it's. I'm speaking for Jordan Peele right now, but I think it's fine. He'll be okay.
I don't know.
Just to get in the mind of like what could have possibly happened too. I think there may have been this perception that, of course, a director is going to flock to something like Monkey Paw with the credibility that has recently been accrued.
Yeah.
So they may have walked into it a little overly confident and been like,
it's Monkey Paw. It's Jordan.
What are you going to say? You're going to say no to Jordan Peele? You kidding me?
He was like, well, yeah. I mean, if New Line's going to pay me more money for a movie that I already know is good.
So that may have happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not in those rooms.
Because honestly, as far as the genre is concerned, Zach Cregger has a name of his own, so it's not like he needed it to be produced by Monkey Paw.
Right.
I'm thinking about the Dev Patel movie, Monkey Man from Monkey Paw. The Monkey Chain. The Monkey's Fist. The Monkey. Sorry, I had to do that. I had to get that out. I'm thinking about that movie. Like, Dev Patel had already proven himself as an actor, but he hadn't proven himself as a writer-director yet. Right. So I think that movie needed the push of a Monkey Paw to be like, Jordan believes in this and we believe in Jordan. But, yeah, I don't think Zach Kreger is in that same position. I don't think he needed the rub from...
Clearly not.
No, yeah.
Clearly not.
And honestly, I haven't seen New Line Cinema in a long time. So
thinking the same
that
thing.
was really weird and being like, oh, okay.
Like, what year is it?
Right.
Is this Friday the 13th?
For real. So, like, okay. All right, I'm into it. So, yeah. I'm excited. And New Line is, and Jordan is probably... not kicking himself, but he probably keeps one of those guys around to he keeps them locked in a room somewhere so he can. Did you see all the press? Did you see Discussing Film was talking about how you lost me that fucking movie?
You fired.
And he just keeps kicking him in the stomach. Jordan, please, I have a family. Not anymore. Your family is Monkey Paw.
You had a family.
You had a family. And guess what? They would be sitting pretty right now if you had just gotten me that fucking movie. And he just keeps kicking him in the
I want weapons.
Yeah.
Well, we will see.
We will see. But I have a really good feeling about it.
Me too. Knock on wood.
You didn't mention we both didn't mention it in the opening of the show, but did you want to talk about Thunderbolts real quick before we get to Revenge of the Sith?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, me too. And I was looking at our notes and I was like,
yeah. So we talk about the MCU a lot on this podcast. If you haven't noticed, the latest film coming out in the MCU proper is Thunderbolts with an asterisk. And we still don't really know what the asterisk means. There was a Japanese poster that came out that, in translation, the asterisk at the bottom that correlated with the asterisk in the name was...
It had a key of some sort?
Yeah. It was the Avengers aren't available.
Oh, okay.
Which is very clunky, which makes me think that's not the actual translation or how they would translate it for American audiences.
But it's something to that effect.
Something to that effect, yeah. I get the feeling that's what it's going to be. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares?
I don't really care about
that. Who cares?
That doesn't really change my opinion on the whole
thing.
I don't give a shit.
I just thought it was something that's been bothering me since they put out the name, and I'm like, what is that about?
Yeah.
So I had to share that. But
it's obviously intentional, and so I think I don't know. Sometimes I think it's a risk to be like,
it's a little too cute.
Yeah, and that's like, and then when it ends up being something that is just something like that,
yeah, okay.
All right.
Great.
Was it worth it?
Cool.
Was it worth it?
Cool. Chill. All that to say, early reviews and, I mean, general reviews at this point, because the movie's coming out this week, have been generally really good.
Yeah. Got
an 89% currently on Rotten Tomatoes, which went down from a 95 or 6 when it was initially reviewed.
95, I believe.
Which, was some kind of record. For the MCU.
Was the second highest rated MCU movie behind Black Panther. Which, by the way, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Love Black Panther.
Me too.
Love Coogler.
Absolutely.
You guys saw Sinners, right?
We saw Sinners.
Yeah. We can't really talk about it yet.
I don't want to say a thing until you watch the movie. All right. Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about it. Hopefully, I'll try to see it in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
And then we'll see kind of where the box office is, because we won't spend too much time on it, but it is... They... almost broke a record. It was the second or third highest, or lowest rather, drop off of a second week box office.
Yeah, they said there was a chance it could make more money in the second week.
Yeah,
at one point. So yeah, I mean, it's doing well. This is actually kind of apropos because IMAX theaters are now switching out to Thunderbolts from Sinners, and a lot of people are upset about that because they looked at the numbers of opening weekend for Sinners in IMAX versus opening weekend for Thunderbolts in IMAX, and it's it's like half, if that, the amount of seats taken at this point.
Yeah, well, Sinners, that's frustrating. I can imagine like Coogler and company are probably pretty. I mean, I'm sure that they have too much humility to be upset about this, but I would be pissed because if my movie was doing that well off of word of mouth alone.
Yeah, let it roll. Keep it going.
Just keep, because like
it's better for everyone except for the MCU.
Money that they're gonna lose because the MCU comes in and snatches up all the IMAX.
Well, and especially because there was so much press about Sinners being shot for IMAX specifically, and like, you know, I mean, even to the point where, unfortunately, even though we have like a large format IMAX theater in Orlando, we don't have the right one. So there's no way to see Sinners the right way in Orlando.
Yeah.
But that being said, like, the closest you can get is seeing it in an IMAX theater the way it was supposed to be seen in the correct aspect ratio. So that all of that, I think, leads people to be like, well, I have to see it in IMAX then.
Right.
You know, if we're going to go see it, we got to see it in IMAX. So
yeah, and if you hadn't, well, good luck with Thunderbolts.
Right, yeah.
Well, and apparently all this to say, like, Thunderbolts is opening to a huge number.
Yeah.
Which is so here's the thing. We've talked so much about everybody's beef with the MCU, and like I guess I'm interested to see. I would like to go back and watch Brave New World, the fourth Captain America movie.
Yeah.
And trying to think of what else that I've missed. The Marvels. And
still haven't seen the Eternals.
As far as movies, I think that's all that I've missed.
I haven't seen Eternals. I haven't seen Marvels. Yeah, I haven't seen Brave New World.
So it's just those three, though. I think I've seen everything else.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it for me too.
So I'm just wondering about.
I mean, TV shows, but you know, who can keep up? Bullshit. Yeah.
So it's just going to be interesting to see, like, okay, what makes this movie so much better than those movies?
Yeah.
That the MCU is back. And also, to piggyback off of that, you have to think that everyone, like all the movies that are gonna come after this, they're all gonna look at it and go like, oh shit. Can you imagine, like, how many of them are gonna go back and do reshoots because they're like, oh, we need to make it more Thunderbolts like, because that worked and people like that.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've watched some reviews on Thunderbolts already, and read some. I can read.
Jury's out.
I like the pictures. But a lot of them are saying the reason why Thunderbolts works is because it seems to have like a coherent vision and story to tell. Whereas it's the Achilles heel of especially this recent run of MCU movies is that they all seem to more so be about pushing the larger story of the MCU forward.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's less true for Thunderbolts than it has been for the other movies, where it's like, no, they have a story that they're trying to tell about the Thunderbolts specifically and these characters. And despite it looking just kind of like a knockoff of Suicide Squad, apparently they subvert those expectations, and it's kind of a little darker and it's a little more mature, and sure, there's still like cracking wise and whatnot because it's the MCU, but it seems to have its own voice and its own reason for being on its own separately from the larger MCU scope of things. Yeah. Okay. But all that to say, you also they're kind of talking out both sides of their mouths, these reviewers, sometimes, because at the same time they say you will benefit largely from having seen the past MCU stuff where these characters were originally introduced, because they don't apparently do a big introduction of who these people are.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Well, and I mean, honestly, they didn't do that with any of the Avengers movies, really. You had to, like... But the problem... I mean, I guess I shouldn't say the problem, but the thing with those movies back then was everyone was going to go... Everyone was excited about Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. Like,
sure.
People were going to see those movies. You didn't have to explain anything to anybody. Well, you were the one who missed out if you hadn't seen any of these movies.
And not only that, but like, you know who Spider-Man is.
Right.
You know who Captain America is. You know who Iron Man is. Like,
I got into it with somebody about that.
What?
Because people, like 2 weeks ago when everybody was doing that stupid Mount Rushmore.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this Mount Rushmore is going viral. Yeah. It's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. No. Well, you're forcing it to go viral now.
Yeah, right.
You're posting it all over all your... Like, Complex pisses me off.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, somebody, probably Complex, posted a Mount Rushmore of Marvel characters. And it was... Or no, I'm sorry. Was it Marvel characters?
Or just superheroes?
I think it might have been just superheroes.
Batman, Superman.
It was Batman, Superman, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And...
Did they throw like one dumb one up there so people talked about it?
I think it was Captain America.
Okay,
yeah, it was Captain America because a bunch of people were like, it should be Wonder Woman.
What?
Yeah.
No.
As far as Mount Rushmore's, what are we saying? The four most important characters in comics? I mean, not Captain America. Wonder Woman, probably. She probably deserves to be... Oh,
she's super iconic. Yeah, there's no questioning that. But I think... I don't know.
Would you take Captain America off for Wonder
Woman? No, absolutely not.
So that was...
And I'm not being sexist.
It's just a character, Sherry. You don't have to,
Sorry, I love America.
Right. Do you love America or do you love women? You can only choose one.
That's 2025, baby.
That's how it is.
Sorry.
So I jumped into this argument because everyone was like, Captain America has only gotten popular because of the MCU and because of Chris Evans' portrayal. And that's what I said. Yeah. I was like, this is very clearly the opinion of somebody who is a young person who wasn't outside when Captain America, you can argue. I will say, I honestly, I do think that there's an argument to take Captain America off and put Wonder Woman in. Mm-hmm. I think that there's an argument there.
Sure, yeah.
But what I will not say is that it is a clean, cut, dry conversation that Captain America doesn't belong on the Mount Rushmore.
Captain America's been around since World War II.
I know, and it's so crazy. And that's what I'm saying, man. These are the people that you're debating with now. These are the people that I get into arguments with people sometimes online, and it's like that's who I'm arguing with.
Zoomers.
It really is like young people or people who are not. They're just not tapped in.
Yeah.
They're outside now.
They only know the MCU.
Yeah, and it's like just because you started watching these movies when you were 7 and I was already 22,
an adult.
And Iron Man came out in 2008, so I was 18.
Yeah.
Like, we were adults when this shit got started. But that's not even the case that I'm trying to make. Even when I was like a baby.
Oh, yeah.
The people were walking around with Captain America t-shirts on. He's part of the fabric of America.
The shield alone is iconic. I would say it's almost as iconic as the Superman shield.
Yeah.
Like the
S. And it's not even just the fact that like he is an iconic character, but like he's been in so much media that you can't. Every video game that features comic book characters, Captain America's, he's in Marvel vs. Capcom. He had his own video game.
Yeah.
A bunch of side scrollers. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was multiple movies. I mean, people want to ignore the fact that there was multiple movies.
Yeah.
There was a cartoon. He was just as prominently featured as a Spider-Man or as a Superman.
Spider-Man.
He's right up there. And so I thought it was just so crazy to have to be like, hey man, sure you can make an argument for Wonder Woman and you have a strong case, but don't sit here and act like Captain America is just and that's what they were like. Captain America he's only big now because of the MCU, and I'm like, that's because you're 17 now. Yeah, so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But so it's going to be very interesting to see basically what happens going forward with the MCU.
Well, let me riddle you this.
Riddle.
Are you planning on seeing Thunderbolts in theaters, or are you going to let that one slide too? Well, what's your excitement level on this, after the reviews are now revealed and people have been talking about it a little bit?
Well, so I am, despite everything that's happened, still a fan of the MCU. And so I want these movies to be good. I think that was the point that we both made when we talked about this.
Yeah,
was that
of course.
We genuinely want these movies to be good. We're not the people that are out here like rooting for these movies to fail.
Yeah.
as some kind of conspiracy against this machine that has been created. You can have a conversation about Disney and Marvel and what it's done to the film industry, but when these movies are good, it's good. It's a good movie, and it's successful, and you want to see more good movies.
Just because a lot of people like it doesn't make it bad.
Right. And so it is exciting that finally they've come out with a movie that is well received across the board and doing well financially. We didn't go over the box office numbers, but doing well financially so far against the 180 budget. It's at 175, I believe, for its opening weekend.
Yeah.
So
already pre-release.
Yeah, it's going to be massive. It's going to be massive. So that to me is just genuinely exciting. And you can say that I'm like a naive comic book nerd, but I think that that's genuinely exciting when a movie like that does well. And I also think that a movie like Sinners doing really well, and everything that's happening with Sinners is a great thing too.
Which is a genre pick. It is a vampire movie.
Right.
For it to be making as much of a wave as it has is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that people are still going out to see not only genre movies, but original genre movies.
Yes. Well, people are going out to the movies. It's so funny to see all these articles about like that Variety article about Sinners, which, everybody...
Don't get me started on that one.
And it's just interesting because people are going out to the theater. They're going to see movies. That Minecraft movie is going to do $1 billion.
And they're releasing a special version of it.
It's going to be huge.
Version.
I don't even know what that means.
I
saw the poster for that, and I'm like,
Are they going to have like a countdown for the chicken jockey or something? Or like what's...
I don't like that. I'm not a fan of whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah.
To do anything other than it just...
Well, it's not like a musical. You can't like have the sing-along thing to it.
Like hell you can't.
Oh, there are songs in it.
He debuted... Yeah. On the top 100 with a 30. Did you see this?
No.
It's a record-breaking song. It's the shortest song to debut in the top 100. It debuted at 77. It's like 34 seconds. The song where he sings about eating a lava chicken. Chickens. No, but you know what? He scored a top 50 with that too.
I know. That's why I bring it up.
Fucking crazy,
Chickens, man. I love you.
His career, man, Jack Black's career is something to behold.
Silly.
Even when he got cast, you know what? Fuck this. I don't want to do it. I don't want to litigate the Minecraft movie.
Nah,
I'm not going to do it.
Maybe we'll get there someday. Not today.
Yeah.
Not today.
Whatever streaming service it pops up on.
Sure.
Maybe I'll watch it then. I watched the Five Nights at Freddy movie.
Oh, did you?
It's terrible.
I heard.
It's so bad. I couldn't believe how bad. I was like, this is...
I saw enough to be like, no.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
Not going to do that. Not going to do that.
It's dog shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, to get back to Thunderbolts and its box office performance. To answer your question, I guess.
Yeah.
Am I going to go see this in theaters? Maybe. I was more excited. I was genuinely more excited about Brave New World. Even with the bad reviews, I was genuinely more excited. I like Captain America as a character. Yeah. I like him I like the story that they've been doing from the first one all the way up to this one. I like Anthony Mackie as an actor.
Yep.
Harrison Ford. I mean, I was genuinely more excited about... I was really excited about Brave New World. And then I just didn't catch it in the theater. So as far as my excitement level, I mean, I just can't lie and pretend like I'm more excited about Thunderbolts than I was about Brave New World. So if I catch Thunderbolts in theaters, it'll be a happy accident.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to wait until it hits Disney Plus.
Well, I think you certainly should see Sinners first.
Oh, 1,000%. If I'm leaving my house to go to the theater, it is to see Sinners first. Yeah. That is the number one priority. And then all this other stuff takes a backseat. I might even wait and see Brave New World in like one of those, theaters where it just hangs on.
I think now's the time.
Yeah.
Because I think it's out digitally now for like, $20 or whatever.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'd say within maybe 2-3 months it'll be on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And you can just watch it there.
I'll just wait.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do.
What I'm gonna do.
I still haven't seen any of the other ones I haven't seen yet, so there's really no rush for me.
Right. Well, honestly, it like the ones that we missed, it doesn't really seem like we need to see them.
Right.
Honestly,
Right.
like we keep talking about the Marvels and we keep talking about Eternals and those, and I want to watch those movies just because I'm genuinely curious about them. But as far as the MCU and the story going forward, it doesn't really appear to me that these movies are necessary.
Right.
So that sucks.
Yeah.
But every time I see a meme about the Eternals, for instance, it's always like, are they ever going to address this thing? Are they ever going to talk about this thing? And it's like, for real, we're like really far away from the Eternals. And honestly, there's not a lot of actors in that movie that I really give a fuck about.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the Eternals are, so I'm not that deep. They didn't show up on my Wizard subscription, so I not really that familiar with them. So it's a lot of stuff riding against them. It's the reason why I didn't go see it in the first place.
Same. And if the Eternals movie would have been like a massive hit and something that was actually worth going out to see, it would be different. Because it doesn't matter the notoriety of these characters at the end of the day. If you make a good movie, it's a good movie, and I think that's what they need. MCU at large needs to walk away with.
And I think Thunderbolts is proving that right now.
I think so.
So I mean, obviously, Sebastian Stan and Florence Pugh. It has like good actors in it, and
Sure.
What's his name from Stranger Things?
Yes.
What is his name?
The latest Hellboy.
Oh
no, not even the latest. The Hellboy before.
There's another one. Yeah.
Oh boy, yikes!
What's his name?
Harbour. David Harbour.
David Harbour. We don't need you. Sit back down.
Don't worry about it.
David Harbour.
Thanks for nothing.
Yeah,
David Harbour. And apparently the guy who plays the fake Captain America.
Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell. Apparently this role, people are saying like he's showing a bit more range, and people have kind of gotten on the Wyatt Russell train now. They're buying Wyatt Russell bucks.
Okay.
And saying like he can do big things moving forward based on a role that, in the TV show that he was debuted on wasn't necessarily revealed. The full scope of how he can be this like emotional but action oriented actor.
Yeah, he was a little one note.
Yes.
And I do think that was an issue with that, was like he was very purely an egotistical
asshole.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that did kind of harm the character because you very easily rooted against him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very unlikable. But apparently, this is a good vehicle for him, in which he gets to flex a little more of his acting chops.
Well, it's funny that you say that too, because that was a thought that I had about his character being a part of the Thunderbolts. Was like the rest of them are pretty redeeming characters.
You have a thief. You got a former assassin.
Yeah.
You got her dad.
Well, but you have people who like legitimately save the world in this team.
Sure.
And then you've got this guy who murdered someone in broad daylight.
Yeah.
And it went viral.
Yeah.
He's not on the same level as a guy who saved the universe.
A brutal, egotistical arm of American imperialism.
Yeah. So that's an interesting perspective to take.
Yeah, but apparently he has a good turn in the movie. So
yeah, all right,
we'll see.
I was just rewatching The Thing, as one does.
Of course.
Brad hadn't seen it in a long time, and he just randomly put it on.
Oh, I don't need a reason.
Oh, I was in the kitchen cooking something, and I heard the first notes.
Blang, blang.
And I turned, and I couldn't see the TV, and I was like, because he was watching something else, and I was like, "Did you turn off what you were watching?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Guess." And I was like, "The Thing." Like, you just
John Carpenter's The Thing.
The second you hear it, it's like, yeah. And Kurt Russell, man.
Oh my god.
I could do my cheers of the week about Kurt Russell probably every week.
I would say one of my favorite dudes of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of people I know in person, of genre of film, of job, of post, it doesn't matter. Kurt Russell, one of the best dudes of all time.
Oh yeah, man. He's so good. I mean, he's so good in that movie, but
Yeah.
like he's so good in everything that he does. It's like every line delivery. Because I had just recently rewatched Guardians 2.
Yeah.
And he's so good in that too.
Yeah.
And like every
Ego.
thing that he does, like every word that falls out of his mouth,
Death
like,
proof.
man, it's just so. I don't know. It's like it's magnetic. He's got this. I mean, his charisma is 100 out of 100.
charts.
It's like
Off the charts.
Yeah, it the way that there's just something electric about how he delivers lines.
He's got the
And-
Harrison Ford thing.
Yeah,
You know?
yes,
Where
yes.
it's like he seems like an approachable everyman, but also the coolest guy you've ever seen ever.
He is a dude who could like be working at a Home Depot, but could also be the person that you would trust saving the universe.
Yes.
Like it's just
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
But that's like when you go to Home Depot and you meet that guy who takes you to exactly where you need to go, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I work with these lug nuts all the time. Listen, my wife," and he starts telling you a joke, but it's like legitimately funny.
Yeah.
That you don't have to like fake laugh at it. You're like, "This dude, I like this guy.
Yeah.
There's something likable about this dude. It's like that X Factor thing you can't put your finger on." And that's what those dudes have. And that's
exactly
what Kurt
right.
Russell has. And honestly, not to go in a negative place with this, but I'm gonna. His son doesn't really have, and that's not fair to him.
Yeah, no.
But he just doesn't. And I think that's he's a different guy.
You can't help but make the comparison, but it's just like Clint Eastwood's son. Like
Oh man, what a
you
I was
gotta
gonna say something really mean. there,
Don't
but
do it.
Just not
Don't
a
do it.
not living up to expectations there.
Well, and that's the thing though, is like obviously the deck is stacked against both of those dudes from the get-go.
Yeah.
Just based on being that nepo baby that you have to point to your dad not only being in the same industry but being iconic in that industry.
Yeah.
So we actually we touched on this in the past about like people, actors specifically, who have a leg up because their dads are. It was the Washington sons.
John David Washington
Yes.
and his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sort of being
And
an
we've
albatross
said,
around their neck.
We've
but-
said it before though, but this is John David Washington podcast. So like I think he's one
Sure is.
actor who is
the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
And we'll see with Wyatt Russell. Maybe this is a vehicle that pushes him up to the next echelon.
And I will also say in his defense, I do like him as an actor, and I've seen him in stuff before I knew that he was Kurt Russell's kid. Excuse me. I didn't know his name.
Yeah.
Obviously, I thought he looked vaguely familiar. I was like, there's something about this guy. And I did like him in the stuff that I saw him in. So I never had an issue with him. But it's just like, man, when you compare him to somebody like Kurt Russell, which again, not fair, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Unavoidable.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Well-
That's good news though to hear that like this could be a star-making turn for him.
Yeah, and I mean, people need to tell me if I'm wrong, but I think he was also in the Monarch TV show.
Yeah.
As a younger Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people said he was really good in that too. So
Yeah.
I think, his star's been rising slowly but steadily. So hopefully this is, something big for him.
That's always cool when an actor is in a thing and they're like, let's just cast my son. He can be the younger version of me in this thing.
Yeah.
I always like that. That's honestly, that's where I think nepotism works,
It
man.
works, yeah.
Like just cast my son in this thing and
How
he'll
does
be,
it not?
Dude,
Yeah.
like you watch Straight Outta Compton and
Oh, yeah.
like O'Shea Jackson Jr., he has a career because he played
I mean,
his
who
dad
knows-
so well.
Who knows the man better than the son, you
Right.
know? Like,
Right.
you get to pretend to be your dad in the 80s.
I don't know if I could do it with my dad. I'd have to watch stuff of him when he was younger. That's the other thing. When you have a famous dad,
Sure.
you can watch not only just living with him and understanding his mannerisms and stuff and like what really makes him tick. If you have that kind of relationship with your dad,
Sure.
I don't. But if you do, you could
Yeah.
really get to the nuance of what makes your dad who he is.
And where they were at the time that you're supposed to be portraying. I mean, it's especially difficult when it's a biopic.
a biopic.
So that had to be a super challenging thing. But if you're playing just a character at an early part of their life, you can make all that up. Mm-hmm. So I think that's less challenging in a way.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about that.
Yeah. So this is going to be exciting.
Yes.
Kind of see where this moves the industry. Because now I believe that there is a bit more excitement when it comes to the MCU now that they have like a winner, like a certified winner, not a Brave New World broke some records and it broke even and it made a profit, and then it got to a point where it was like
people still considered it disappointing as far as the box office.
Sure, exactly. And now that they've got like a certified winner on their hands,
certified hood classic.
Exactly. Where do you go from here?
Yeah.
This Fantastic Four movie, this Doomsday stuff, like the next phase.
Yeah.
Has some big shoes now that they have like a winner on their hands.
Well, and the last thing I'll say on it is I hope they don't do what you said, which is make a bunch of reshoots and adjustments on the movies that are already basically in the can.
I agree.
Stop it.
I agree. I thought that was a concern, but I definitely don't want them to do that.
Just stand on the movie you made.
Right. So speaking of going out to the theater and really voting with your wallet and making your voice heard. Star Wars Revenge of the Sith.
Episode 3?
Was re-released in theaters to celebrate the anniversary, right?
Yes.
And
what was it, the 20th? 20th anniversary, yeah.
Crazy.
That's...
I saw all the prequel movies in the theaters.
Me too. Yeah.
And they should have been left 20 years. No, I won't do that. I'm not going to go there. Let's give some concrete hard facts first before we. So this movie comes out or is re-released rather.
Yeah.
And now all over the internet, I'm seeing people rewatching it in the theater. They're talking about the theater experience and everything.
Yeah,
right?
and tons of thirst trap videos of Hayden Christensen. Yeah.
Right, sure. Now he's getting that love that he got before.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like I said to you personally, Sherry, I mean, no one ever said that he wasn't hot. He's a good-looking dude. That is, in my opinion, the only reason he continued to get work in Hollywood. Yeah, I said it, and I'm going to continue to say it. I've said it on this show before. He's not a good actor, and he gets movie roles because he's good looking. But we're not going to, believe me, we're coming back to that.
Okay.
But let's talk about your experience, both of you, seeing the movie in theaters again now with adult eyes.
Yes.
You. What even drove you to go see this movie? First of all,
come here, Sherry. That's you are just fine.
How do I look? Hi, everybody.
I'm ready for my close-up.
Why did we go to see episode 3 in theaters?
We went to see episode 3 because...
How did this come about, I should say?
It came about in 2005 when I was in 8th grade. And
Where it all began.
I saw episode 3 in theaters 6 times.
Oh my God.
Due to how much I was obsessed with Hayden Christensen and the character of Anakin Skywalker.
I didn't know you went 6 times.
I went 6 times, and I cried every time.
You were that emotionally invested?
I was a hormonal teenager. Anyway, so it all started there. But what drove us to see it this time was actually all of the TikToks I saw of other people's experiences seeing it in the theater. And I thought, wow, that looks like a lot of fun. But it's not even just like, like, oh, we're going to see Star Wars. It's the thirst trap edits of Anakin Skywalker set to Mariah Carey's My All is what made me think, oh, by George, we should go see it in theater again.
By George Lucas.
So that's what drove it.
Some Obi-Wan edits, too.
Some
Obi-Wan.
Don't leave him out. No, he deserves the edits, too. So that's what drove it.
Also a good-looking man.
Yeah. Hello.
Absolutely.
Hello there.
Yes.
Hello there.
Hello there.
What did you think?
Well, I will say episode 3 is the best of the prequels, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think that goes without saying.
I also agree with that.
Yeah. And so when Sherry asked me, well, she didn't really ask me. She's like, we have to go. And, I had to move around my saxophone practice a little bit.
Shout out to Gray.
Very flexible. But I was like, I don't know if I want to go to the movies to go see Revenge of the Sith. But then, you know, obviously Sherry is really invested, and I was like,
Really invested.
I'm really emotionally invested.
She really needs this.
And she'd been sharing me TikToks all week. And so I knew how much this meant to her. So I was like, okay, all right, we'll go.
Let me have this.
In the back of my mind, you know, I was like, you know, it'll be any time you can go to the movie theater and see a Star Wars is nice.
A Star Wars.
Yeah.
Also, I treated us to tickets.
She did buy the tickets.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
that's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah. He
yeah.
goes, I'll go.
If you pay for it.
And I
she was
said,
like,
bet.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll pay a lot of money to see
Say no more.
Yep.
Say no more.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
No.
yeah, you know, once I was like, you know, it's still Star Wars. It's still nostalgic in a way, and it is the best of the prequels.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in. So we went.
You son of a bitch.
We went, and you know, we settled in, and I gotta say, it was a really good time.
It was a great time. It was fantastic.
And look, this is how I'll say it to you, Marco, as a non-prequel guy, and I consider myself a non-prequel guy as well. What won me over is the fact that with adult eyes, in the year 2025, watching Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, the vast majority of it, oh, wow, McClunky, the vast majority of it is really funny, and it is in a way that is still entertaining, but in like a midnight showing kind of way.
Okay.
And the crowd was equally as invested as we were.
Everyone was on the same page.
Everyone was on the same page in terms of
So whenever there was silly dialogue,
just really bad lines.
acting,
Yeah.
or you know, CG that hasn't aged well, everyone
or
laughed.
Palpatine going,
When Anakin is about to kill the younglings, everyone erupted in applause.
Yeah.
As soon as the lightsaber went out.
I hated that. I was not happy with that.
So as I will say, as a communal experience, it was actually a whole lot of fun.
It was funny with this sense of community.
And
yeah.
then I will say, in the last 15 to 20 minutes of the movie, it's actually pretty good. You know, when you get the dramatic,
All the stuff on Mustafar.
Yeah.
like the dramatic end of it all.
It's John Williams, you know.
Absolutely. All of that, the sort of end to it, even though as a collective, the trilogy, the prequel trilogy is bad, it's still coming to this like crescendo of where we were waiting for it to get to finally.
Yeah.
Is still really satisfying and really nice and thematically really good and still satisfying. So it's, I would say, like 3/4 like audience engagement comedy in a way, but not so bad that, like, not bad in a boring way. It's actually bad in a fun way. And then 1/3 actually thematically engaging. And that mix is actually really good. And I actually wouldn't mind seeing it again in theaters. Like, it was a lot of fun.
Wow. You hear that, you guys?
All right,
He
get
wouldn't
outta
mind seeing
Get out
it.
of here.
Wait, I had thoughts too. You asked me to
Doesn't matter. No, come on.
You asked me to come
I
up
know.
here.
I'm joking.
Okay. I agree with everything you said. I also was surprised to see how unfortunately relevant Revenge of the Sith seemed.
It's true. There's a lot of political intrigue that's very similar.
Because I remember when I was watching these prequels when they first came out, a lot of the criticism was, oh, it's too politicky or whatever, which it is a little heavy-handed in the, like...
A little.
Yeah. It's too much, but in the scene of the Revenge of the Sith where Padme's like, so this is how liberty dies.
Yeah.
And Adam and I looked at each other like, oh. And there's like lines about like, well, Chancellor Palpatine, I don't even know how he was able to extend his term. He shouldn't even be in power anymore.
Right.
And like, there's just a lot of stuff like that where we were like, oh, this is a little uncomfortable.
Ooh.
So I was surprised to see sort of how almost relevant it was even for today.
Yeah.
But I think overall it was a fun time. I'm glad that you loved it so much.
I did. I had a great time.
I let it be known that like if I suggest something, you fight it. You should just listen to what I suggest.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the lesson.
And that's all I have to say.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I'm not the only one because apparently it made $25.2 million in just the United States.
Crazy.
Over the weekend.
I mean, it's not. I guess it's not that crazy.
And then, that's not all. Made another $17 million internationally.
Yeah.
Just over the weekend. Last weekend. Yes. Today's the last day to see it. So I'm sorry, everyone listening. You cannot see it in theaters.
By the time this comes out, it will be too late.
Right.
So if you hadn't seen it, then you're like me. I'm not gonna go. I'm not going to see it. I'm not gonna go see it.
It's fine.
I don't like the prequels. Didn't like the prequels then. Don't like them now. I rewatched the prequels like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I rewatched the whole series. I went through it. I went through all of them because they were all on Disney Plus.
Sure.
So I went through and did the whole series. Maybe it wasn't that long ago. Long enough ago when Rise of Skywalker was on there that I was like, all right, now that all 9 of them are on,
Yeah, he'll go through
I'm gonna go through the
whole
thing.
kit and caboodle.
And I did. And the prequels are just, I mean, it's been done to death, but there's so much wrong with them. There's a lot right with them. There's a lot of fun to be had in the prequels. There's a lot of stuff that I like about the prequels. Sure.
Padme's costumes. Yes.
Padme as a character is fun and interesting, and Natalie Portman
Did her best.
Yeah, she wasn't done any favors by the writing and the direction. So, I mean, it's clear that Natalie Portman is
and Ewan.
And you know what? Here's another good point. It's Natalie Portman proved post this movie and before this movie, really, that she deserved to be there, and that the weakness was not her performance per se, but she was doing her best with what she was given.
Oh, yeah.
Hayden Christensen proved without a shadow of a doubt
All right.
that he was only there because George Lucas had a hard-on for him and thought he looked great. And he does.
And he does, yeah.
I get it. Who wouldn't have a hard-on for him? Especially in Revenge of the Sith. He looks great. The hair is amazing. He's a dreamboat.
The scowl? Are you kidding me?
I think for sure. I get it. But that's probably where my empathy stops with this movie. I think I just think everything that he says, everything about it. I could spend another hour on this. You turned her against me. You did that yourself. I brought peace to my new empire.
Your new empire.
And you know what? Ewan is acting circles around him in that scene. Ewan is blowing him out of the water.
Yeah.
And in that whole back and forth, your new empire. I mean, he's so good. He's so good.
You were my brother.
Oh my god.
Oh. I hate you. He's so. I mean, it's just like you're watching like. I mean, it's like it's like the dude who graduated from drama school and like the freshman, and they like did him a favor by letting him act with the older
But
guys.
he's
like,
so hot.
but he's so hot.
He's so hot.
So I get it. I get that part. What really irritates me, and everything. By the way, everything that you both said makes perfect sense, and I understand from a viewing experience.
So much
theater
fun.
experience.
So much fun.
And it sounds fun. And I would probably go to have that kind of fun with the movie. And I'm not going. I rewatched it, and I had that kind of fun, especially with episode 1. Episode 1's terrible.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff in it that is like, as an adult watching it, I'm going, well, that's just dumb. But that's so funny that they did it that way.
Yeah.
It's so good. What I have a problem with is rewatching these movies and relitigating their place in Star Wars canon.
It's not what I'm doing. I want to be clear. Let me be clear.
Let me be clear.
This is not revisionism, okay? I'm not saying they're good movies. And specifically, I'm not saying 3 is a good movie. I am saying it's the best out of the prequel trilogy, but that's not saying much. So let me be as crystal clear as I possibly can be.
Let me be as abundantly clear. And but
the prequels suck.
But see, that has been my issue with this whole thing, with the re-release. And you see all of these people who are like, I can't, and they're like, it's mostly just boomers and millennials. Wow. It's mostly just boomers and millennials who didn't like the movie. And it's like, yeah, man, we grew up on it. We watched it as kids, and then we watched it as adults and just confirmed that they're not good movies. They're not good movies.
Well, even with nostalgia, they're not good movies. Not good. It's fun. They're fun. Some are fun movies. 2 sucks. Just I don't want to ever see 2 again.
2 bad. 2 is really bad.
And they never re-released it. So that's the joke of it all.
You like 2? That much?
Oh my god!
It goes 3,
Attack of the
1,
Clones
2.
sucks.
Yeah, it's bad. It's so
3-1-2,
bad.
absolutely.
Let's go 3-1-2.
Yeah.
There's a whole like 15 minutes of Obi-Wan on that island with the clones that you're just like, why are we still here? What's going on? This is so boring.
Why is it still raining?
Everyone's so wet. It's so weird.
Those guys with the long necks. So weird.
So weird. But you know what's funny is they get really fleshed out in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
You don't like what?
I don't like
sand.
Of course. And it gets everywhere. He's so bad, dude. He's so bad. And you know when he was in Takers, and I was like, oh. And then he gets killed, and I was like, yes.
Wow, spoilers.
If you haven't seen Takers, that's on you. Don't see it, honestly. It's not a good movie either. We Takers, mates. It's not a good movie. It's bad. It's got a good cast, though, except for Chris Brown. Yeah. You got a good cast, though. You got Idris Elba, Paul Walker, T.I.
Oh.
Hayden Christensen, and Chris Brown.
Real murder's row.
Yeah. I think Matt Dillon might be in it. I could be conflating that with another movie. Anyway.
It seems like he would be.
Yeah, it seems like a Matt Dillon movie, right?
Yeah.
Like he's the cop.
Yeah.
He's always the cop.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I guess that's
nice.
He's in it? Okay.
Nice.
I think that my biggest issue is this revisionist history, and that's always that's something that is going to bother me until probably the day. Oh no, I have to charge my laptop. Oh! Throw me my backpack. Oh, I knew I forgot something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's always been my biggest beef with pop culture nowadays.
Yeah.
Is this revisionist history and
this bad thing is actually pretty good.
Yeah, and
this good thing is actually really bad.
Exactly, and that's always like I get going back and kind of relitigating things and looking at them with fresh eyes. Well, like for example, what you guys were saying about the politics of Revenge of the Sith is eerily similar to what's going on in the world today. That's an interesting thing to kind of go back and go like, wow. What in history made George Lucas even think about something like this to kind of put this into his movie? And also it's a very interesting thing to kind of think about how history repeats itself and the mistakes that we make in society and all that stuff. That is all very, very intriguing.
Yeah.
And a very interesting and fascinating conversation to have.
And I will say also, like, legitimately, there is intrigue to be had about the dynamics of whether Palpatine had a point that the Jedi have it wrong. And you know, like shutting yourself out from everything outside of the light side of the Force isn't necessarily the best thing to do or natural for people.
Right.
You know, like the idea of there being a balance and that being sort of the Trojan horse into Anakin to be like, actually, the dark side does offer some stuff that I am not allowed to know about.
Right.
And then the strict sort of theology of the Jedi Order that also pushed him away. And looking at that, and there is certainly interesting ideas behind all of that.
Yeah, on a micro scale.
Is it done well? No. But it's there. It's there.
The conversation is there to be had.
Think about it,
and people do.
And I'm sure within like Clone Wars things are
they
dissected
expand,
more.
They expand on it a lot. Anytime that they kind of go about the philosophy of the Jedi, they use Ahsoka to kind of bounce around those conversations because she is like early Anakin basically.
Yeah.
But she has a really big struggle with the Jedi Order and all of those questions excuse me, all of those questions that George proposes across the prequels. Dave Filoni really explores using Ahsoka as a vehicle for that. So it is really interesting.
Because George certainly didn't.
No. And I think maybe that's part of the fatal flaw of those movies is he was so concerned with just getting to 4 that all of the interesting shit that he brought up across the first 3, across episode 1 through 3, you're like, oh, well, what about that idea? That's a really cool idea. And then the mistakes that he made, the midichlorians, there's just so many things that he did that was like, what are you doing?
Forced errors.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You don't need to do this. It was so beautiful. I mean, we just got done rewatching
the original.
and
the original trilogy, yeah.
Rewatching that, you're just like, it's not perfect. Those movies,
no.
There's a lot of dumb stuff that happens in those two, in those 3 movies.
There's certainly silly elements.
What you really understand about Star Wars, rewatching all of them, especially as an adult, is like across all 3 trilogies, you get at least 1 to 2 not good movies.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of unexplored stuff, a lot of half measures, a lot of bullshit, and then just a lot of beauty and wonder and
moments that are just like all timers. It's crazy.
Yeah. So across the board, is it the best series? No. Yeah. Is it the series that I love the most? Yeah. So I think that is clouding to kind of go into the Jedi arena a little bit. I think that clouds people's judgment, and they can't see the forest from the trees enough the force
from the trees
to kind of understand that, like, listen, man. And then it's exactly what you guys said about going to see it. Like, you can enjoy it, you can have fun with it, and also acknowledge the fact that it's not that good.
It's not. It's not. There are good moments.
He can. You can. Obviously. Hayden's not a good actor. I can't even wrap my head around how you could think that he's a good actor.
He's such a heartthrob in the movie.
What does that have to do with his acting ability?
He's so good at acting, you feel sympathetic for him.
I don't though. I hate him.
Oh, the character?
Yeah.
Anakin?
Oh. The Clone Wars does so much to repair the image of Anakin.
And again, not only that, and mind you, I haven't seen all of it. I've only seen that much. But from what I've seen alone and from what I've heard about it, it does so much to repair the image of the prequel trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
At large.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
it fills in so many holes, and it does so much, like...
Honey.
and yeah, I mean, you can say that they were victims of the time and victims of the constraints that they were under to make these 3 movies, but maybe George should have just wrote them better.
Well, it's not only that. I don't think it's even the sort of restrictions he had. It was that he had carte blanche.
It was the choices that he made.
And again, I feel like this is like cliche at this point, but when a creative in general has no limitations, it leads to a worse thing.
Yeah.
It leads to a worse piece of art. When somebody has, like, constraints of some kind, or at least a collaborator or an editor or somebody else to come in to be like, I have a different point of view. and maybe we should shift this to that because X, Y, and Z, that leads to better art.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that everyone, and it seems this was the case from the behind-the-scenes footage of them making the prequel trilogy, everyone saw George Lucas as this god. And, you know, why wouldn't they?
Right.
But that led to a lot of people not speaking up and saying, that's a bad idea. What about this?
Right.
And I think
having him come back to the fold and doing all the movies as opposed to like the original trilogy, after the first one, he was like,
yeah, you guys take it.
Yeah, here.
I'll
write the story.
I'll write it.
You can do the screenplay and like flesh it out, but I'll give you the story.
And I think he's really good at themes. I think he's really good at sort of, again, the operatics of it all, like the larger picture. But when you get into the dialogue, especially, not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah.
The world building, great.
Beautiful.
Has great ideas. Anyway, it was a fun watch. I'm happy that we got to go see it, and I recommend if they ever re-release 3, especially maybe 1, in theaters again, go out, have a good time. Not 2. I wouldn't waste my time with 2.
No. The only good thing about 2 is the Yoda Dooku fight.
Yes.
Because that's fun. Because you finally get to see Yoda fight.
You know, I like Jango Fett.
Jango was cool, and he got murked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fun, seeing Mace Windu, get busy.
Oh, my God.
So that's cool.
And you saw that, like, it was originally going to be way more brutal.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So that's good, and
that's about it.
That's about it. Yeah. I think that's the only redeeming qualities of that movie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing. 2 sucks.
Amidala's midriff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so like obvious that that's what they're doing when her shirt gets ripped on her stomach.
The scene of her wearing that corset that makes her waist like 12 inches.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyway. Can she pose in front of a hot rod?
I mean, it's it's the long lineage of, taking this person who should be, important, intelligent, an anchor of the story and being like, well, at some point in this series,
she must be a sex slave. Just like her mother.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what happened. That's what happened. That is what happened.
Oh my God, look at the TV.
Nice. Distract.
Sorry.
Distract. Move on.
What is it? Joe Manganiello is his name?
Yeah.
He has a chihuahua with like no teeth and its tongue out.
He like hosts a show now. He like hosts a game show.
Oh.
What the fuck happened to him, man? The fall off is crazy.
Yeah. He was
in massive blockbuster movies. What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Everyone judges him for it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
They're like, how could you?
And the way that they judge Hollywood men for cheating on beautiful women, sure. Yeah.
A long lineage of men being judged in Hollywood for cheating. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That checks out.
He just didn't have it.
Yeah, I guess not.
He just didn't have it.
Guess not.
Yeah, and they asked him to host some game show, and he was like, sure. What else am I doing?
Well, Zack Snyder was kind of his guy, and then once Zack was out, it's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Okay.
All right.
I think we got it.
Yeah, we got it.
All right. Let's move on to 2 things that you all know and love.
Yeah.
First things first, we got to give our cheers of the week.
That's right.
So, Obi, you want to start us off?
I would love to. My cheers of the week goes to Oviedo, Florida. Recently celebrated their 100-year anniversary.
Now, before you go on, did you do your research? Was there like a bunch of plantations that you don't know about? Was there like did blood grow the trees of this city?
I mean, current day Oviedo that we grew up in. I can't speak to the Oviedo of 100 years ago. That was probably a sundown town. But I'm just being honest. We grew celery, and that leads me to think there were some abuses happening.
Yeah.
In Oviedo. So, I will say there's probably some darkness in the past, but we don't. In 2025, in Trump's America, we don't talk about that.
No.
We
bury that.
We talk about the glorious history and the even more glorious future that is Oviedo.
Yes.
The place that we've grown up in. We went to Oviedo High. Mm-hmm. That's where we first met. Mm-hmm. And they had actually
cry about it.
At Oviedo in the Park, they had a centennial celebration. That was a lot of fun. And we got to enjoy that, so I just want to give a little tip of the hat to, what's ostensibly become our hometown, which is Oviedo. Yeah. So, for sure. Look into the history, though. I don't know.
For sure. Well, to continue with this hyper-local cheers of the week, my cheers is going to the Orlando Magic again. Yeah. They did their best.
Yeah.
They gave it their... Okay, calm down. Okay?
I'm just really upset,
It is what it is. Yeah. It was a long shot to beat the Celtics in a 4-game series. Yeah. And it did not come to fruition. We did take one. I think by the time that we had recorded last episode, the game was on, and we were waiting to see what was going on. And we did take one.
Yep.
So we did not get swept, per se. 4-1. We weren't full strength.
True.
So I can make every excuse in the book. At
just
the end
wasn't
of the
the
day,
year. Just wasn't the year.
Yeah. I mean, you have to do better than fighting for your life in the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
And then thinking you're going to beat the defending champions. So
hey, they got close. Yeah. Most games were close games.
I will say, injuries aside, it was a very fun season. Guys were playing really well. It was fun to watch, especially the good games.
Yeah.
Early in the season was really fun. Dragging their lifeless bodies into the playoffs, and then fighting hard to earn their spot.
Yeah.
It was good. I love the team. Love being a fan of the Magic. It is what it is. We're gonna have to just keep cranking away at it. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to the Orlando Magic. Great team, great city, great experience.
Agreed. I hope they stay healthy next season.
Yeah.
And can kind of see this to fruition. Yeah. Paolo's great.
All right. We got one last thing, and that is the cheers of the week. And so, Obi, you want to start us off with your cheers for the extra... What?
Huh?
What did you just say?
You said cheers of the week, and I already said...
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Not cheers of the week. The review. Thank you. Thank you. You know what? I'm going to leave that in because I was in it. Didn't even realize I was going on the wrong side of the road. There's all these signs going turn around.
There's 3 people sitting on the track.
And they're like, what are you doing?
You got to choose to pull it one way or the other. What did you say? What did you call me?
The cheers of the week.
One more time.
The review of this beer. That one I might take out. We got to review these brewskis.
We
okay,
sure do.
So from Sideward Brewing, the Extra Juicy Boots, a double dry hopped IPA, the sequel to Moon Boots. Obi,
right.
What'd you think?
It brings me no joy to say this, but I kind of like this more than Moon Boots. It is right up my alley, straight down the middle. A great juicy IPA. I'm gonna give it 5.5.
Wow.
I think it speaks directly to everything I love about IPAs, but I will say I generally think I would prefer just a double IPA version of a Moon Boots. I would like that. And I think that would kick it up to a 6 for me.
Sure.
because juicy is fun.
Juicy is fun.
I do enjoy it.
Okay.
Excuse me. But
I review first.
I will say it's the juice coming up.
Gross.
But I will say, juicy it's a fun distraction, but I am a bigger fan of a straight up IPA. So that being said, that's why I give it a 5.5, not a 6. But it is so good. Yeah. That's all I have to say about that.
All right. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I disagree. I think that the Moon Boots is better. And I'm not, I don't, this is it's not what I wanted. No, 4.5 is still a good score. It's still a good beer.
I don't want you to talk anymore.
I asked for anything but, and this is what no, I'm kidding. No, I think it's a good beer. But I do think if we're comparing it to its sequel, sister beer, I think the Moon Boots is better. But I do think if you're looking for like a dry hopped beer, something a little juicier, this is a good direction to go. But I also will say that their Space Wizard accomplishes this feat maybe better than this.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah, you start to get to know the brewery a little bit more, and you're like, you know what? I think you guys have already kind of accomplished this.
Uh-oh.
So
I just remembered the Space Wizard.
So
I'm going to give it a 5. I'm cutting it back to a 5.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's true. I really do love the Space Wizard. So, yeah, this is a 5. This is a 5.
All right.
Thank you for the context.
4.5 for me and a 5 for you?
Yes.
You think we got it?
No, we got it.
Well, if Obi says we got it, then this episode is over. This has been the One Beer and Podcast for myself, Marco Dupa, for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Hey, stay juicy.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have yourself a beautiful evening.
We love you. Yeah. Oh, you're so right. The cheers of the week.